What is a 47-year-old wheel company, the Lamborghini behind me, and the lunch that I just have all have in common? Well, they all have questionable history. What did I have for lunch? So just so you guys know, we're giving away a beanie, a sweatshirt, and a sticker for anybody that subscribes on YouTube or shares and likes the video on Facebook. That is the entire sales pitch for this entire video. Boom.
For them to miss me. Yes, I see the things that they wishing on me.
So in 1971, a new wheel company was born, Speedstar Racing, or Speedstar Racing Wheels. They were, without a doubt, probably one of the first Japanese wheel companies to specialize in aftermarket designed wheels. They didn't start in the game really making anything else besides aftermarket wheels. And they pride themselves on being the first company to make multi-piece wheels. And you're gonna see in all of our wheel history videos, it seems like any company in Japan or any company in Europe seems to be the first at making multi-piece wheels. It's not true. Weds made the first forged multi-piece in 1977. BBS made their first multi-piece Motorsports wheel in 1972, and Work Wheels didn't make their first multi-piece wheel until 1977. So SSR has the multi-piece wheel pretty much on lock in 1971 with the MK1. The MK1 was made out of their Yao factory in Japan, and they pretty much said to themselves they wanted to go from something that just functioned to something that had a little bit of form to it. So what was SSR's motto? Well, that was simple: to change history and tradition to safety and trust. So their goal was simple from the get-go: to make wheels that just looked good. The MK1 was probably one of the best looking wheels at the time. And you have to remember, in 1971 and the early 70s, there was a huge demand for aftermarket wheels. The JWL and the VIA shortly came thereafter to actually regulate the market. I keep saying actually. If I say actually again, I'm gonna take a shot for every video that I do in the next wheel history.
2 shots of vodka.
I'll be drunk. So when did they come over to the States? Well, they state that they came over to the United States in 1985, but that really doesn't matter. Most of SSR's history is overseas and maintains to be overseas, and they do not have a strong market share here in the United States. SSR is a brand that just really doesn't focus on the domestic market here. As always, SSR, as well as a lot of other Japanese wheel brands, got immediately involved in motorsports and began killing it when it came down to the actual Grand Touring and Grand Cup events that were happening all across the country. They've won countless Grand Championships, trophies throughout the last 3 or 4 decades, in fact, where they've just been killing it when it comes down to partnering with a bunch of different companies. In 2006, they partnered with Chris Forsberg. They partnered with countless other US drifters and international drifters to establish their name into the scene, and it was really going well all the way until they declared bankruptcy. They became the sponsored wheel company for Mugen CRZ for the Super GT300. They sponsored Team Real Racing. They sponsored Team Kunomutsu and the Rayburg NSX Concept GT in 2014. They sponsored Chris Forsberg again in the 2014 Formula Drift Championship Series. They've pretty much done everything. So besides the basic JWL VIA testing, SSR does do their own additional testing: impact bending test, rotary bending test. You're gonna see a lot of those companies come standard with the same sort of testing that you're gonna see from Work, Raise, companies that are based overseas. They have that same stringent testing. They do take pride in that. So they use heat treatment manufacturing, or HTM for short, on all of their wheels. SSR essentially goes through their wheels, whether it's a 1 monoblock, 2-piece hybrid, or a 3-piece wheel, and reheat treat it a second time. What that allows us to do is burn the impurities and actually make it a stronger wheel, because it's forcing more pressure onto the wheel a second time to clean up any sort of problems that would have gone through within the first heat treatment cycle. They also have a hybrid 2-piece design, which combines that HTM technology and what we call SSF, which is semi-solid forging material. So semi-solid forging is a technique used by SSR in 1991. They're the only ones to use it. They're coined the phrase of semi-solid forging. And what that does is they use a semi-molded aluminum alloy that's actually cooling down, and prior to injecting it, they treat it, and what that allows them to do is to apply an immense amount of pressure. So this isn't rotary pressure, but it's actually just overall pressure into the injection mold that helps maintain a high integrity of strength, durability, and quality. What this allows them to do is maintain a low price point, even though SSR's price point is extremely high, so that you don't have to worry about paying a fully forged price or a multi-piece price for something that is semi-solid forged. Now, it's not the same as rotary forged. Rotary forged, as we discussed in the past, they take these discs at a high rate of pressure, they smooth it out like warm butter on a nice toasty piece of bread, and then that's how you get the forged barrel. That's not the case with SSF. Semi-solid forging essentially maintains an integrity wheel that while it's cooling down, it forms the shape at a high rate of pressure all at the same time. So there's no spinning really involved more than there is just absolute pressure surrounding the wheel. That's pretty much it. They don't claim a whole lot of safety engineering testing is done on their website, unfortunately, but we know that they do take care of their wheels because their price point is absolutely insane. SSR also builds wheels with BBK, big brake kit, in mind so that you can make sure that if you're getting something that has a Lexus VIP look, you're always gonna have brake clearance in all of their wheels. A lot of their wheels either spoke outward or they have a lot of concavity to fit those bigger brake kits that you're gonna see on a lot of higher end vehicles. And in all, SSR shares the same mentality as Volk, as Work, because they share a lot of their racing motorsports experience with their commercial line. So they don't separate the two businesses at all. So that's why you're gonna see a lot of new designs come out from SSR that are very similar to what they ran in the Super GT 500 series the year prior or 2 years prior, because they do not allow their company to be confused with politics and allow racing to not be the same as commercial, or the commercial not be the same as racing. So SSR just clears the playing field just like Rays does and says, you know what, f it, here's all the data that we have from all of our racing designs, all of our heat treatment, all of that stuff so that you guys can go make your wheels. And they make some pretty cool wheels. So they have a crimped rim, which just allows the rim to fold back inward, back into the wheel to allow it to maintain integrity. They also feature anti-slip technology between the wheel and the tire to help maintain that beads don't break off when you're racing them across the street. They also feature a ton of stuff that helps maintain the overall heat dispersion from the front of the wheel to the back of the wheel. They also talk about zero offset, maintaining centerline on a lot of their wheels. They have a bunch of fancy stuff which really matters, but 9 times out of 10, SSR wheels really don't go on those sort of vehicles. They tend to go on the stance vehicles. Sorry. So the current lineup features 1-piece, 2-piece, 2-piece hybrid, and 3-piece wheels. Their GTX and GTV lineup are flow-formed wheels. They also feature a 2-piece hybrid wheel, which is essentially a centerpiece welded onto a barrel. The barrel features rimless technology, which just allows to maintain any sort of integrity with the wheel, so you don't have any weak points in the welds. So SSR tries to create customization options that don't lower the overall strength of the wheel, because the last thing you want is to be driving down the road and your face is on your wheel, but then the rest of your wheel is over in the ditch. The best reason SSR does that is because they want to maintain the creativity side of their brand. SSR prides itself on being able to do creative designs, different looks, and things like that, which you cannot usually do with a fully forged or rotary forged wheel. Unfortunately, that's just the way that the wheels are processed, but SSR with their semi-solid forging allows them to do that, so they don't have to worry about wheels breaking, and they can also make sure that their designs look dope. Their GTF model is a forged monoblock, but honestly, my favorite is the Professor series. That's probably why you guys know SSR. Their wheels are killer looking, absolutely beautiful. A set of Professor SP1s 18 by 11.5 will probably run you about $3,900 in their Hyper Black. Insanely expensive, right? But at least you can tell your friends on social media that they're not fake.
Does it look real?
Their Professor series features different parts of their multi-piece wheel lineup depending on which piece you're buying. They're not made from the same aluminum alloy as you would expect. So the face is made from a different aluminum alloy than the barrel, which is made from a different aluminum alloy than, let's say, well, I should say the hoops, then the center disc, then the rivets, then any sort of welding material. Pretty much they make it extremely difficult, which is why you are paying to own one. Oh, and they have the Executor series, which sounds badass, but their wheels, not a huge fan. That's just me. Don't shoot me, don't kill the messenger, just letting you know. Speedstar Company and Speedstar Wheels went bankrupt in the end of January in 2005, and it came out of nowhere. Now, official reports haven't released the amount of debt that they were in, but somewhere on the forums they are saying anywhere from around 87 billion yen the company was in debt, and they do not know why. They have something to do with just the warehousing explosion, and then of course the international market, which broke a few years later. So we're not entirely sure why, but we did have a savior come down from the heavens to buy Speedstar Wheels, and that was Tanabe Co.
Hell no, to the no, no, no.
So if you don't know who Tanabe is, you've probably been living under a rock. Tanabe is a suspension company located overseas, probably one of the biggest names in aftermarket suspension, especially when it comes down to motorsports. They essentially acquired Speedstar Racing Wheels through something. We're not entirely sure how they managed to acquire it, whether that was through a partnership role or just because they had ownership rights or because they just friend requested each other on Facebook and was like, hey, you wanna get your money back? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, okay. It'll be like 87 billion yen. So there is plenty of rumor that Tanabe has ruined the quality of SSR wheels. Tanabe actually revitalized the brand not even a year after going bankrupt, so they are kicking the brand off. They have been doing very well over the past 13 years. Their presence isn't as strong as it once was, but they are trying to get back to it. That's why you see them sponsoring Chris Forsberg. That's why you see them getting back into the motorsport game. But SSR does still make a great wheel. But that is everything that you want or would have to need to know about the lunch that I just had, the Lamborghini behind me, and of course, SSR wheels. So we hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a comment with what you would like to see next. Of course, talk to us about history videos or just whatever you want us to talk about. That's what we're here for. So I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We will see you later. Peace.